His web series is called Vicky the Gastronaut, and rightly so. With the many culinary experiments inspired from his world trips and the experiences garnered running restaurants and food chains, Vicky Ratnani has used his lockdown wealth running online cooking courses and upskilling, baking more than just pizza and flatbread. Like this very different kind of focaccia that comes with its own tadka.
I got this really good organic flour. And I said, why don't, we've always eaten different kinds of bread like masala bread and, I said, why don't I do a really nice focaccia, but with giving it almost like a dhokla kind of feel to it. So I added some cumin powder, I added some red chili powder. I was using whole wheat flour, to which I just added a little maida, so it was very healthy. And I used a little bit of Himalayan sea salt in it. So it had jeera, cumin, turmeric, a little bit of red chili powder. I added some hing as well to it. And after the bread was baked, I actually made a similar tadka what they put on top of a dhokla. So it was curry leaves, mustard seeds, hing, again jeera, and I poured it over the focaccia. It was fantastic.
I also know that you've done something with a jackfruit. Firstly, why a jackfruit? Because sometimes the odor can be so strong.
The jackfruit which gets a little odor is the ripe jackfruit, which I love actually. But the raw jackfruit is, it's the largest street fruit in the world. And, right from the time I was a kid, I've grown up in Bandra and all that. So you would see jackfruit trees everywhere. The texture of the jackfruit reminded me completely like pulled meat, like a lamb or a goat or pork. So, and it's got a really nice meaty taste to it. I braise it like I would do like a braised shoulder of pork. And I love this particular recipe which I do with braised pork with Mexican chilies. So it's called braised jackfruit carnita pulao.
There was also a lobster samba. So there are always these twists that chefs come up with, which are very interesting. So tell us about this lobster samba.
Besides grilling a lobster, there's a very classical recipe, which is a lobster bisque. The shells are actually ground with the stock, and it thickens the soup. So whenever I always connected a sambar and a lobster bisque, a French style lobster bisque, in the way that it's very rich, it has a lot of vegetables, and then it has a lot of seafood. So what I did, I made a lobster stock, and I used this lobster stock to cook my vegetables, and I made a sambar out of that. So it was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we actually made dosas at home. So I actually had the lobster sambar with dosa.
Tell me, now that the weekend is upon us, Vicky, how are you going to ask our viewers to spend it in the kitchen?
For people who like to eat eggs, I think Spanish omelette is an amazing breakfast, brunch, lunch, hangover, any kind of meal you like to eat. So I think if you take like 2 or 3 eggs, you whip them up really well, season them with salt and pepper, and then what you could do is you can take potatoes, you can par cook them, slice them very thin, or even cut it into cubes, no big deal. So you need 2 eggs, 1 onion and 1 potato. You saute off the onions and peppers and potatoes in some butter and olive oil. After they are kind of half cooked, then you add the beaten egg into it, stir it a little bit, turn the flame down and cover your pan with a plate or a thali or a cover, and you'll see that it's almost kind of getting set. You open it, give it a little shake, and by the time it sets, you take that thali and you flip the pan. Okay, so the egg comes out here, it's quite set, it's like a cake.
Over at the Taj Lands End in Mumbai, the hotel's ready to welcome guests again, though its restaurants like Vista will have to wait a little longer. Here, executive chef Rohit Sangwan with his crew has discovered a novel way to relive a childhood memory, the chocolate cake.
The sponge should have enough chocolate in it. It should be moist. The cream should not be hard when it's chilled. So to get all these, we did a lot of permutation combinations across the recipes.
All of which led to the use of mayonnaise because it brought together three important ingredients: eggs, oil and vinegar. And once the sponge was ready, they turned to the ganache.
Instead of just making a normal ganache, which is cream, chocolate and butter added, we added a meringue to it. So that could keep it stable in the chiller, but still when it comes out of the chiller, it just gives a great cut to the entire cake and a beautiful mouthfeel to a chilled cake.
Clearly, our chefs have been whipping up a storm, infusing fresh ideas into some tried and tested recipes. Inspiring enough to try some of our own this weekend. Vikram Oza, ET Now.